Hey everyone, welcome back to Coffee with Craner. I have Drina Baron-Zinyk here, the president of Baron Championship Rings, and she's actually the first woman to hold this title in the history of the championship ring industry, which is very exciting. They do a lot of great work in the sports industry across the globe, and it all happens right here in Tecumseh/Lakeshore area.
Yes.
We were talking about that before, and tough to say what location you're actually in.
Exactly. Yeah.
But very, very fascinating. A lot of really, really cool teams that you've been able to assist with making the rings. Can you talk to us about the history of the company? How did Baron Championship Rings start?
Actually, it was super cool. My parents, way back in the day in the 80s, had started a retail jewelry shop.
Okay.
Doing engagement rings and, necklaces and stuff like that. So my dad in 1984 said, you know what, there's nobody who does school rings or police rings. So he branched off and started a business called Baron Insignias back then.
Okay.
So he did firefighter, police, went into schools, and it was hard because your only other competitor was in the U.S. market. So he wanted to be the first ever Canadian to have a manufacturing plant to do corporate jewelry.
Yeah.
So it just started evolving through the years. My brother and I always got involved doing ring days at high schools. I don't know if you remember that in high school. They'd set up a table and you'd be able to look at graduation rings.
Yes.
And then you'd pick it. So he would send us out sometimes to do that. So we've always kind of been immersed in the business. Went and did our own thing. Then later in our 20s, my brother was living out in Vancouver. And he calls me. He's like, hey, the BC football team won here. So I'm going to draw up a ring and show them a championship ring and see. And I'm like, okay, awesome. And we love sports. We're a huge sports family. And they said yes. So we started getting championship rings here and there. And we said, Dad, you need to go after championship rings. High school graduation rings are they're going on the low. Not everybody's buying them, right? So you go after a sports team, you're going to get 20 to, if it's a football team, 60, 70 rings in one shot. So, fast forward, we just kept getting more teams. And then in 2015, because we were growing so much, we said to our father, can we buy you out? And he's like, okay. So we kind of worked. It took a while to convince him to do this, okay?
Yeah.
So we purchased the business from him. We rebranded it to Baron Championship Rings because we just wanted to focus on the best of the best. And kind of funny, less than a year later, we landed the Cleveland Cavaliers. So,
2016.
2016,
okay.
yeah. And my dad was totally bummed because he's like, I sold the business to you for way too low. So, yeah, from after once the Cavs gave us an opportunity, it just kept to the domino, right? People started seeing, oh, you're legit. You can do rings for LeBron James.
Yes.
You can do rings for us.
Yes.
And that's kind of what started our story.
Wow. How did you land the Cavs?
Well, we went in. My brother who was my business partner as well, was at a game and started talking to some individuals that worked there. So it's once they won, he kind of had a little bit of it in to be like, can you help us set up a presentation? We went in. We did a ton of presentations, designs, and we were up against 7 other companies.
Wow.
So we didn't think we were going to get it because we were like, okay, I don't know if this is going to happen. So we came up with an amazing design, which just never been done before with the amount of diamonds that were on it, the graphics that were on it. And when they said we had it, we were like, what? We were shocked. So right away, my brother's like, okay, we just went, why did you pick us?
Yeah.
And they said that we were the most authentic. We came up with the best design. And this is their first ever championship, and this is our first ever pro. So our stories aligned perfectly, and they knew that we'd work for it that much harder.
And everything started to spiral after that in your favor.
Absolutely.
Right? So
yes.
What are some other teams that you've had the opportunity to work with?
We were able to then do Seattle Storm, which is WNBA, LA Sparks. We got Toronto 905 Raptors, which is their G League.
Yes. Yep.
And then we did Toronto FC, Team USA basketball, which was amazing. We've always done Hockey Canada, so that was awesome. And then it brought us into when the Toronto Raptors won.
Yes.
So even though we were Canadian and we were able to go and present because we've done all their other rings. It didn't mean it. Everybody was happy.
So you're still up against another 7 people?
We were up against, I think, 4 other companies at
Okay.
that time, right? So yeah, that story was amazing as well because we worked closely with ownership and with Kyle Lowry.
Yep.
And when we presented the rings, or the design, I should say, and we did a prototype, because sometimes you have to do prototypes for pros so they can see. And as soon as Kyle saw that ring, he's like, that's it. So we were like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely never take it for granted.
That's so exciting, and it's amazing that's here in Windsor, Essex, that it's all happening. How did you enter the role as president? When did that start?
It's been, I think this September, it'll be 3 years.
Excellent.
So my brother was president for a long time and I was vice president. And years ago, I kind of took a little bit of a step back, you know, with young kids. And then I started getting back more involved. And we started like brainstorming. I love working with people every single day. So I love being like in the building, having the pulse of the company, seeing everybody, seeing the clients, talking to them. And my brother's more of the business developer. He's the innovator. He comes up with crazy ideas. And we're like, we can't make that. And he's like, oh yeah, we can. So we balanced each other out very, very well. And so he wanted to concentrate more on that. And I wanted to, elevate it a little bit differently. So he said that, I think this is the time for you to become a president and take over the company and put it into your vision and your story.
And how have you been enjoying it?
It's stressful. Not gonna lie, it's stressful. It's hard, right? But it's very rewarding. I love it. We have an incredible staff, and we also have, other staff that we work with, our sales that are in the States, which is amazing as well. So to be able to work with them as well is wonderful.
What kind of team do you have here? I met a few individuals on my way up. Could you speak to the team in this building?
We're so fortunate. We have an amazing team. We were actually even doing some breakdowns of, because we do reviews with everybody personally every June, and we don't have high turnover. So I'm super grateful for that. And I find that a lot of our employees are former athletes, so that hard work and discipline is there, right? And so it's incredible, even from like our COO, John Lamantia. He's a baseball guy from back in the day.
Okay.
My husband, who's a production manager, was one of the best pitchers in this area. So our sales guys as well, they're all either football, baseball, hockey. We've got a basketball too.
Cool.
So yeah, I find that blend really works well with even our vision in the company.
For sure. Where do you want to take Baron Championship rings? I would imagine you're growing quickly, especially since 2015 and that major change for you. Where do you see yourself in 5-10 years from now?
I see ourselves as when someone sees our logo without the name Baron, they know that's Baron. And I feel that that's where we're starting to get. Like, we are worldwide. We're all over North America. We've branched out into Europe as well, and in Australia, which has been amazing. So to know, I've always said it like this, like, everybody knows what the Nike symbol is.
Yes.
I want everybody to know what the Baron logo is. Yeah.
And how do you achieve that? Is it working with more teams? Is it?
More teams. Our branding. We have an incredible marketing department that really pushes our brand and everything that they do, from our packaging. So when we do the rings, it's not just about the box, it's also about the experience, right? So say if a pro team, semi-pro, we have these amazing boxes that you open it up, your ring's inside, it tells a story about your ring, and so when each athlete opens it up, right, they're like, wow, and they feel that, and then they feel it, then they feel your brand even more with that. So we've also taken it to another level with our nonprofit as well, which is our Leave No One Behind, where it's about giving back. So that's our next step. My brother and I really, honestly, it's not just about championship rings anymore. It's about giving back to kids that are not able to, not just get rings, but they don't have turf. If they don't, like a football field, if there's, a basketball court needs nets or a uniform, we've done that for teams.
Oh, great.
That's kind of where we want to elevate it next.
That's amazing. It's always good to have something meaningful outside of the day-to-day that you can really give back to the community that's been supporting you. Right?
Absolutely, yes.
So now, would you be able to walk us through just briefly? We have a bowl of rings in front of us. What is that manufacturing process like?
Well, it starts with a design, right? We work with the team. It's all about storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
So we listen to the team and say, tell us about your season, and just let them talk. Let them tell you about the littlest things, even up to a motto. And then we go back, we give them the design, and sometimes we kill it first time. Sometimes you got to go back a whole bunch of times. Yep. And then once we do, it goes into our computer system. We draft up the ring and then 3D print it. We cast it, and there's grinding, polishing. You've got to add the stones if they want diamonds. Even the logos on top, you've got to put the color that they want in there, and the final polishing, and then it goes through an extensive QC department. Through every single step, we have QC, checking it out to make sure there's no errors, all the way up to the finishing and the boxing. I make it sound like it's a super quick process right now.
It's what takes the longest. What's the longest part? Is it the casting?
I'd have to say after it's casted, the grinding. You have to grind it. You have to polish it. But you have to go back and forth, because then when it gets set, you still have to, there could be uneven parts, or if there's pinholes, you've got to laser it. And it goes back and forth, but it takes a long time.
How long does it take we have a giant one in front of us. What would something like, can I grab
Absolutely.
it? Yeah? What would something like this ring take? How long does this take?
Well, if you had a team of them, it takes about 10 to 12 weeks.
Okay.
So, but if you were to say do one ring from beginning to end, it would be less than a week.
Yeah.
But you have to not sleep.
It's quite heavy. Is this for like a giant or something?
That's actually one of our mini, I know, right? That's one of our mini paperweights.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and that's when I say mini, that's the smallest paperweight, because I have paperweights that are bigger than this, and
I'm seeing a big one over there.
Yeah, that one we actually made for Superfan for Nav from the Toronto Raptors. So he wanted those. He wanted the largest ring we could possibly make, and he put them in all his dealerships in Toronto.
Wow! Did you have to have a whole other piece of equipment to make something like that?
We did, yeah. We have a manufacturing plant in Montreal.
Okay.
So so when they saw that, they were like, oh boy.
Yeah. So what happens at this location?
This location, we manufacture from beginning to end, but we do have many other outlets.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten so busy, right?
What do you love best about the job?
What do I love best about it? Is seeing the athletes' faces when they get the rings. That's my favorite. It's like, even if it's like a 7-8-year-old from an OMHA hockey team, when they open up that ring box, to me, we did this one video years ago where it was a football ring, and then we opened it up in a video promo, and all you hear was the fans.
Oh,
and
my
you
gosh.
hear in the background. Yeah. And that's what I picture every time they open it, because that entire season is in that ring, right? And that to us that's the perfect storytelling. And
you've met some pretty cool athletes. I saw there's a massive wall at the front of the building.
Yeah.
Was there a lot of those athletes? Did you see them open up their rings?
Yes, a lot of them, like the Cavs, we were on the floor, so we were able to see it. The Toronto Raptors, we were. So watching them, like, oh gosh, I'll never forget when the Cavs opened them, and then LeBron was like running through the crowd, and Kevin Love, like, it was just like, wow, I tear up every single time. Yes. So, and the same with the Raptors. So it was, it was awesome.
Helping with the Raptors must have been special for you.
It was, to me, I know I've said it before, but it was a full circle moment. I was born in Toronto.
Oh, okay.
My parents started the business in Toronto.
Yep.
And it was downtown Toronto. So, like my brother and I you couldn't do it now, but on Yonge Street by Eaton Center, we used to run up and down the street. Like, they were running their business. We were going to the arcade. So that's where we're from, right? So then they moved us, when I was about 10, my brother's 15, to Chatham. And then that's when they started the other sides of their business. But to make the Toronto Raptors was heartwarming for me. Yeah. And for my brother, because that's where we're from.
Yes. What made them switch over to Chatham and eventually Windsor Essex?
Well, when we were in Toronto, they actually had a jewelry store in Windsor at the same time, and they would travel back and forth. And then we didn't live in the greatest area. So my grandfather at the time had said, you really, like, to my mom and dad, you need to move the kids out, go to a small town. There's this really cute town that's up and coming called Chatham. They just put in a new mall. That's where you should raise your children.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, we moved there. And at first, we were very upset, right? Because you have your friends and stuff there. But then it was the best place to grow up. I have the greatest friends that are still from there, right?
Yes.
So yeah, that's where they ran the business there. Then they eventually closed Windsor. But later on, my dad really started to push the school rings and corporate and that. He wanted to move back to his hometown because he's originally from Windsor.
Okay, that's the connection there.
Yeah. And it was like the Chrysler GM Ford that gave him an opportunity to make his ring, make their rings. So that's why he wanted to come back here. And eventually Pete and I followed.
Yes.
Years later.
Yes. What is the most difficult part of this business? Because it seems like very exciting. It's a lot of fun from what I'm seeing just from speaking with some of your staff, and the projects you're working on are really, really cool. What's some of the challenges that come with the job?
Challenges are with dealing with like going after an account and dealing with the competitors.
Yeah.
Because when we say we're truly the best in the industry and we will do the best job for them, and then we don't get it, that's hard for us.
Yeah.
As it would be for anybody else. Challenges sometimes, you know what I mean? Not all, when you're dealing with customers, sometimes there's just ones you just can't make happy. You try.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yes.
Also difficulties, you know what, I think we've navigated pretty good through the waters of, younger generation coming in and the training of that, working with technology, that's been difficult. And now with AI, like there's always something we're learning, right? So at times it can be difficult, but I like challenges. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, that's excellent. And have you seen like championship style rings change over the years? Do you see it ever transitioning from rings to another type of object, or do you think rings will always be a part of that sports team celebrating a win?
Yeah, that's a great question. We always joke around about it with our head designer, that rings are getting crazier and crazier. Like, what's the next thing they're going to be? Like, there's ones where the top comes off.
Yes.
We're making one right now that you'll see in the next 3 weeks that it'll come out. Top comes off, turns into a pendant.
Okay.
I have other ones too that's coming out in 2 months, where it's a huge ring. You take it out, there's another ring inside of it. So if this one's too heavy, you have the smaller ring you can wear.
Okay.
So they are getting crazy. Like I've seen ones where competitors have, like, you open up the top and there's a watch inside. So we always joke and say, wow, are they gonna never want rings? But I don't think so. I feel like jewelry's been around forever, and it's just a matter of always elevating, keeping up, right?
Yes.
That's the thing. It's like
it's getting bigger, I find.
Oh yeah. And
rings.
It's like how much, like, you tell a lot of stories on your ring, but what can you do next? So that's always we stay very curious with that, that's for sure.
100%. No, this was excellent. I think it's super cool what you guys are doing. I don't believe there's anyone else in this area that does championship rings.
No, and we're the only Canadian-owned business that does it. Yeah.
Across Canada.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, so it's pretty special.
How can folks that are watching that are looking for that next championship ring get in touch with your team?
They would just go to our website, which is www.baronrings.com. And we have all our rings on there as well. And then if you put in a submission, we can do artwork for you. And that we have a sales, like you met our VP of sales downstairs. Typically it'll funnel through him, and then he'll touch base and get you in the right territory of who to deal with.
Excellent. Well, you have a very fascinating story. Congrats on 3 years in the president's chair. And I'm so excited for the expansion and the number of teams that you're going to continue to work with. So thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you for having me. I've followed your podcast for a long time, so thank you.
Awesome. It's not just my parents watching, I guess.
No, that's right.
That's good. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone. Visit coffeewithcrainer.com to watch the full episode. If you have any questions, visit